Hey there, buddies beyond the web. It is me, Brandon Hart, the ECOstruder, and it's about time that I do a follow-up on my time with the Big 60. How has it been for the year that I've been running it? How has it performed? What has broken? What modifications have I done? What do I wish that it had in it? So many questions, all of which will be answered in this episode of the ECOstruder. Hello friends, it's Brandon from the future. I am cutting into this video here because I'm the one actually editing the video that I shot previously. You ever have one of those times where you get so excited about something and you have so much to say about something that you just keep talking and you cover it all? Yeah, that's me in this video. So there's a lot to say about the Big 60 based on my time with it and what I've done with it. So there's just no way to get this 50-minute video down into a reasonably short time frame. So instead, we're gonna make it a 3-part video series. Hey, so the first part here will actually just cover the modifications that I made to my own machine during the time that I had it. The second video will actually get into wish list items, things I wish the Big 60 had, but it doesn't. And then the third section will be, or the third part will actually be about my review of the machine itself, whether I think it's a good machine, whether I would recommend it, who it's a good fit for, etc. So take it away past me. I also want to give a quick shout out here at the beginning to our buddies at Team Trees. They wanted to plant 20 million trees by the end of 2019. Really only gave themselves about 2 months to do it. Ludicrous, ludicrous goal to get to 20 million trees in 2 months. They did it. So just awesome, awesome, awesome job, guys. Go Team Trees, go Future, go Planet Earth. Huzzah! Okay, I gotta get this sweatshirt off now. It's too hot in here. See you in a second to talk about the Big 60. And we're back. Thanks for bearing with me through that. So I thought I'd start off by talking about some of the things that the Big 60 didn't come with right off the bat. Some of the things that I modified, some of the things I did to it to add functionality or incorporate things I wanted to have done. The first one I actually did when I first built the thing, which was putting these wheels on here. And I wasn't sure whether I was going to keep them because I had some concerns about the whole thing kind of moving around and while the thing is printing and the print head is moving back and forth, whether it was going to be able to keep up with that and there was going to be any ringing or artifacts in the parts. I'm happy to report there aren't. It works great. In fact, I love these wheels so much that I bought an extra set because if I get another machine, I would like to be able to put those back in there too. So the wheels are awesome. Highly, highly recommend wheels for your machines. The other thing I did, and the reason why the machine is currently off, is because I wanted to show you, if I can get the microphone over here, I added lighting. I added lighting to the machine. It just was begging for it. It's got this big rail around the inside here, and so I've got LED strips that go all the way around the entire underside of the frame here, and I tied them into the main power for the machine itself. So when the machine is on, the lights are on. When the machine is off, the lights turn off, etc. So no separate power switch or anything like that. So that was a modification that I kind of felt like it needed. Another thing that I did was the tool head, and maybe this was not the best place to put these, but I figured I'd put some example parts that I printed on the machine out here as well. These are different from the ones I showed in the original review, but the tool head, which you probably cannot see back here, has been upgraded as well with some of the additional parts. Basically standard E3D upgrade parts, a hardened steel hob gear, a titanium heat brake, the hardened steel nozzles, etc., that kind of thing. And that just allows me to be able to print with whatever types of materials I want. The other thing I did kind of related to the hot end was I upgraded some of the parts like the temperature sensor. Instead of a normal thermistor, it's now a PT100 temp sensor. The heater cartridge is now the E3D precision heater cartridge rather than the standard one that it comes with. I also made it so that all of those have easy disconnect clips on them, connectors on them. The beauty of that is that I can, with this modular system here, I can interchange different tool heads, or different hot ends, I should say, which is another modification I did. I've used different hot ends. So not only the standard Volcano hot end that it comes with, but I've also, which by the way, I upgraded the heater block to be the nickel plated copper. So it's got more thermal mass and just overall better heater block. So the Volcano, and then I've also got, if I can reach, got the Super Volcano as well. And then that uses the Titan Aero heatsink, so it doesn't make it so long. If you can imagine a standard V6 heatsink plus this whole heater block on the end would be ridiculously long. So it's an Aero setup instead. And then I've also got, I haven't actually done anything with it yet, and I don't appear to have it out here at the moment, but I'll show you here in a minute. The Nova hot end as well. I haven't actually tried it yet, but I'm kind of excited about it. And then the E3D V6 hot end. So I can use any one of those hot ends in this setup and I'm good to go. Oh, also related to the hot end is the level sensor. So since the tool head moves around, it does the probing of the bed. I changed out the level sensor from the originally included inductive level sensor, and instead I'm using the BL Touch. I like it a lot better. It's so much nicer. And then I was having trouble with the inductive sensor too. It kept failing on me and would be triggering at the wrong heights, and so the bed would be down here, but the hot end would think, or the control board would think, that it was right over top of the board, or top of the bed. And so it would start printing in midair, and that's no good. I tried fixing it a few different times and ultimately just ended up saying, you know what, forget it. I would rather go to the BL Touch. One of the reasons why I did that was because of another modification I made. So I don't know if this shows up very well on the video, but I have a removable bed. Right now I'm using Garolite print bed because I'm printing in Tallman Alloy 910 nylon. But I also have PEI, and yes, I have to do this. But yeah, so this is the BuildTak flex plate system. Show you some pictures here, but this is just, it's pretty handy to be able to put in the new printing surface anytime I wish. However, I will say this is a custom flex plate system and not one that you can find directly from BuildTak or from Ideal Jacobs, the company behind BuildTak. So if you're interested in something like this, let me know. I can give you the details, but I will say overall, for the money I have into it, I don't know whether it was a good modification to make. It was very expensive, and I generally just print on PEI. And it came with PEI in the first place, that you put directly on the aluminum bed. So maybe that wasn't the best upgrade to do. But I do like that the BL Touch will probe the surface of whatever bed I've got in there, whether it's the Garolite for nylon, or PEI for pretty much everything else. I do have a Gecko Tech sheet that I could use. I could put down a polypropylene sheet that I get from McMaster and put that down on a flex plate and put that in there if I wanted to. So there are options, which is nice. I like to have options, but at the same time, for the money, I don't know. I'm gonna turn this off just because the E3D V6 fan, you hear the difference? That heatsink fan does produce quite a bit of noise. So I'm gonna shut that off right now and we can keep talking, just you and I. All right? Sounds good. So the other thing that you may or may not have noticed was if you went back and you watched the initial assembly and the initial review video, this screen was actually down here. And I don't know why that was ever considered to be a good idea. But yeah, it was down here and it's really awkward. That's in a weird place to try to get to. Modix thankfully came out with a standard upgrade across the board for all V60 V2s, or Big 60 V2s, and put the screen right up here at the top. That's where it should be, maybe even higher, but you know, right there is great. I should also note that the BL Touch that I upgraded is a standard part of the Big 60 V2s now. So they just come with BL Touches out of the box. So no need to do that upgrade yourself. All right, the other thing is, normally there's a big kind of wonky PTFE guide tube that goes from your filament detection sensor all the way through and into the hot end. I did not like that very much. And so what I ended up doing was just running the bare filament. Well, it looks like I missed my filament holder here, but running the bare filament into the hot end. And then I just have this PTFE, this 3mm internal diameter PTFE tube that sticks up out of the top of the Titan extruder and just prevents there from being kind of a drag point on the top here. I ended up just doing away with the guide tube altogether, putting this extra little tube on the top of the Titan. It's been great. The other thing is, on my machine when I first got it, all these cables and stuff were all on the outside of the machine, and that made my spiffy wheels here a little bit less useful, seeing as I had to kind of pick up all the cords and walk them around everywhere I went. So now with the wheels, I went ahead and I had to drill some extra holes, but I've got all of the power cables inside the enclosure so that I don't have to deal with that. Speaking of the power cables, one of the things that I didn't particularly love was the fact that this heater, the bed heater right here, is completely separate. So you can see the machine itself is off, the heater controller is still on, and I can just flip these switches to actually start sending power to the bed heater and getting it up to temperature. This is completely independent of the control board for the machine. It's a minor nuisance, I suppose, but you know, when I'm printing with 50 some different types of materials, it's a little harder to remember what the appropriate bed temperature for each one of those materials ended up being. So I have to try to guess or generalize a little bit more than I would like to. I would like to have the individual bed temps set up in my slicer, the way I do with some of my other more desktop style machines. So that's annoying. But the biggest thing was just the amount of power that was that the bed heater is drawing when the print is done. There's no reason for that heater to continue to run overnight when I'm not here, or if I'm traveling and a print finishes while I'm gone. That bed heater controller is continuously putting power into the bed heater, and it continuously is staying hot for no good reason at all, just wasting power. So I put one of these little power switch tails into operation. And basically what happens is I have an I/O that it's tied into, and a 5-volt signal is sent to this power switch tail at the end of a print, and it shuts off power to the bed heater controller, and the bed goes cold. Power stops. So that's kind of beautiful. I really like that a lot. I wish I had direct control, but without direct control, that's about as good as I'm gonna get. Let's see, what else have I done? I think I got one more thing that I did, and that is the steppers for the X and Y axes. I'm gonna turn the machine back on here. So the steppers for the X and Y axes, I upgraded from the standard NEMA 17s that it comes with to these closed loop steppers. So just to show you a couple things. Number one is it doesn't move. These steppers retain their position. Even if you can get it to move, it just snaps back right into place because it knows where it's supposed to be, and it will fight to stay there or get there. So that's a pretty nice upgrade. The other nice thing about it is if I move my axis here, they are quite ridiculously quiet. Let me move the Y. I don't know if you can hear that. But for a big machine like this, to have just that noise for X and Y means that printing is extremely quiet. It's also extremely fast. Since these steppers know exactly where they're supposed to be and will fight to get there, you can run these things much, much faster and not worry about skipping steps. So the printer itself can move much faster now with these closed loop steppers. I've printed at 130 millimeters per second, and it kept up just fine. The biggest issue that I had at that point was the Volcano was having a hard time heating the filament fast enough as it was trying to flow through. The spool really looked like you could put fan blades on it and it could cool itself. It was spinning so fast. So that was kind of fun. Okay, so that concludes the modifications that I've done to the machine. Thanks for watching part 1 of my 3-part Big 60 review video series. Again, this was going to be a single video, so it's kind of an awkward transition here, but please do subscribe and come back, watch the second part, which will all be all about the wish list items that I wish the Big 60 had. But until that, please do subscribe, leave your comments below. I love to see what you guys are thinking, what you guys are talking about, and questions that you have. Ring the bell to get notified so that when that next video comes out, you don't miss it. And follow us on social media. I'll put all the social media stuff in the description. So thanks again. See you in the next video.